So in this video, I'm going to be going over my honest thoughts on Mike Brown being the new head coach of the New York Knicks. From what I'm seeing, it's looking like Rick Brunson, Mark Bryant, and Maurice Cheeks are all going to end up on his staff. Another name to watch out for is Phil Handy and James Borrego. In 2021-22, the Hornets led the NBA in assists and they ranked 6th in offensive efficiency. Having that type of coach on your staff to go with Brown, who's already a great offensive coach, that would be a dream come true for the Knicks. I do think that overnight the Knicks became a better team. And it's not to diss Coach Thibodeau because he did a lot of good things here. But basically, everything that Tibbs didn't do is what Brown does very well. I think the Knicks legitimately are going to go to the NBA Finals because of this move. And the East is just so weak with all these guys with their Achilles injuries that if the Knicks just stay healthy, it feels like they're just going to honestly breeze to the NBA Finals. But let's get into it, man. So starting off with who Brown is as a coach, 454 and 304 career head coaching record with the Cavaliers, Lakers, and Kings. I mean, that is one of the best in NBA history for coaches who have those amount of wins. I mean, we're talking about top 7 all time. He has won the NBA Coach of the Year award twice. Remember, he got it with the Kings in his first season, led them out of their playoff drought, which was 16 seasons. They hadn't gone to the playoffs in 16 years. And Brown, of course, got them in. They were the number 1 ranked offense in terms of efficiency. And then he also did it with the Cavs, which was like a while ago. He also does have 4 NBA rings with the Warriors and the Spurs. Now, albeit that was 2 dynasties, you can debate the Spurs one, but the Warriors one was without question a dynasty, and he was a part of that, of course, in 17 and 18. And then 22, of course, was when Steph just went off and was Steph. 50 and 40 career playoff record. Did make the finals back in 2007 with Cleveland. Funny enough, they ended up losing to the Spurs. And then he was fired in December after a 13-18 start to the season. The interesting thing is that I actually covered the Kings during Brown time there. And it was just a lot of scapegoating. Of course, the Kings, they had made the playoffs, and all of a sudden they're off to a slow start. And they were just pretty mediocre on both sides of the ball, so they let Brown go. I just think it was that the Kings weren't a very good roster. I think Brown was able to maximize their potential and make them a lot better than they actually are. And that's why Knicks fans should be excited because this is the best roster we've had probably in, God, man, 50 years. I would even say this is a better roster than the one that lost to the Rockets in the finals with Patrick Ewing. This is a team that should be in the NBA Finals, that should be competing for a championship. And that's my issue with Tibbs. I think he held us back, not practicing enough, not going to the bench enough. And then if you look at game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, the Knicks had a big fourth quarter lead, and instead of holding onto the ball and playing it safe and running the clock, they forced a lot of issues. I thought a couple of the inbounds plays were bad. And the problem with what the Knicks did is even when they did score some layups, they weren't able to get back in time, and the Pacers knocked down threes because they had such a head start as the Knicks were jogging back. And all you have to do is just set a high ball screen on Cat and bam, boom, there's a wide open 3. We saw Neesmith do that several times late in this game. And then, of course, the rush pass from Brunson to OG that resulted in a turnover. It just was a disaster. That doesn't happen with Mike Brown, who is all about details and making sure that his guys are in the best possible situation. And according to Mark Jones, who covers the Kings and also ESPN, so he commentates, he said that Brown crushed his second interview, which included James Dolan. Not sure I've ever seen a coach more detailed. End quote. So you can see that Brown is all about the details, and that's what the Knicks needed, was someone who's going to come in and make sure that they're playing hard every single possession. It just seemed like the Knicks weren't really playing that hard, and it resulted in what I thought sort of a lucky playoff run. The first round against the Pistons, if Brunson doesn't hit that 3 in Game 6, who knows what happens. And then you look at the game where clearly Tim Hardaway Jr. was fouled in the corner by Josh Hart. The Knicks would have probably lost that game, assuming he knocked down all 3 free throws. And then the Celtics series, the Knicks were down 20 in every single game in that series but one, which of course was the final game when they just blew them out by like 40. And then the Eastern Conference Finals, the game 1 was a disaster. So it just seemed like the Knicks should have done a lot better than they did. And although they did make adjustments, Tibbs made adjustments, like midway through the series. I mean, how do you do that midway through the Eastern Conference Finals? Like you have to do that the entire season, and that's something that the Knicks were looking for in their new head coach is someone who's going to make adjustments, who's going to adapt, who's going to develop the young guys, who's going to play the bench. So just do everything that Tibbs did. I personally do think that after just looking at the film and things like that, I do think Tibbs should have been let go of. And I think Mike Brown was the best option they had available. It remains to be seen if he'll be able to get this team to the finals and win a championship, because if they don't, then it's a disappointment. Like that's the expectations that Brown has. But if anybody can do it that was available, it is Mike Brown. I mean, he wins a lot of games. He's great on offense. He's actually was a defensive minded coach because he came up with the Spurs, but then he was with the Warriors, and he's just a great two-way coach. I think the Knicks will be perfectly fine. Considering the Kings were that good with Brown, I don't think the Kings were that great from a roster standpoint. I mean, imagine what the Knicks are going to be able to do. But a lot of it is just accountability, is holding players accountable, especially Cat and Brunson are going to be the first guys. Because how do you expect the role players to be competing every single night if your stars aren't that are making the money? So yeah, I'm really excited. Another thing is going to be just spacing and ball movement, getting the ball across half court quickly. 46% of Brunson's threes were assisted. That is a career low. That doesn't make any sort of sense. The Knicks need to get Brunson more off of the ball and just be a little bit less predictable, a lot less Brunson centric, if you want to put it that way. And yeah, the next thing is just going to be what ultimately Brown decides to do with his assistants. I'll keep you guys updated here on the channel. James Borrego would be the best case. I am excited that a couple of the Knicks assistants are coming back, because it always sucks to see some of your favorite assistants go. Like Johnny Bryant to a rival a couple of years ago was not ideal, and now it's just going to be a matter of who Brown wants to bring in. But really outside of that, we're talking about the Knicks. They've brought in two guys this offseason. The first one being, of course, Gershon Yabusele, and the second being Jordan Clarkson. There has been a lot of rumors going around because Clarkson, of course, is a Rich Paul client, that LeBron could potentially be on his way to the Knicks. I don't think that's going to happen. I did make a video yesterday talking about LeBron in New York, and it's a fun video. I did have a lot of fun making and researching it. But at the end of the day, there's really no reason the Knicks should even make any big-time moves. They should keep everyone they have because, again, they were 2 wins away from the finals. You could even say that they were one historically blown fourth quarter lead away from the finals. If the Knicks had won the first game, they would have had Game 7 in New York, and I just cannot see a fully healthy Knicks team losing a Game 7 at home. I know they lost to the Pacers last year, but they had like 6 guys out to that point. And I mean, it was just a completely different situation. I am excited about Bacom Diadier, Ariel Hukporti, and Tyler Kolek. I'll even throw Kevin McCullough. He's never listed on the depth chart. Like, I don't know why. But I'm excited about our 4 picks last season all being developed. Even James Najee in the Summer League. You look at Diawara. Okay, for some reason I thought I said it wrong. Mohamed Diawara. These guys aren't listed on ESPN's depth chart, but there's a lot of young players, and they're going to be competing in the Summer League. That's going to kick off in less than a week. I cannot wait. I had a ton of fun last summer discussing free agency and the draft and the Summer League and training camp. I mean, that was actually the best the channel's ever done. So hopefully we can replicate that. Also, Dink Pate is another guy, 6'7" stud, of course, G League legend. It's going to be insanely competitive in the Summer League, and I do think the Knicks honestly have a great chance to win the championship. This is an amazing young team. Nobody really talks about it. The Knicks have a lot of young talent. They just weren't being developed and played by Tibbs.